YouTube, welcome to another Throne and Liberty video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about what I've been cooking for the past couple days, and we'll talk about Staff Spear. Now, before we begin, I just want to say a lot of people have been saying Staff Spear is terrible and not good, and it's a completely useless spec because nothing synergizes. Well, I will tell you one thing. There is one thing that synergizes. Let me go ahead and show you right here. Judgment Lightning. Judgment Lightning, believe it or not, they added something to it. Now it says using the skill on a target with the user's burning or ignite effect grants 2.5% chance per stack to use the skill 2 times in a row. So there is a little bit of synergy finally with something. Something isn't just burning. So I believe, unless there was a typo here, Judgment Lightning does have synergy. So we're using Judgment Lightning. Judgment Lightning is a really good skill anyway. I was going to be using it regardless. But yes, there is synergy there, as well as for one of the passives. One of the passives, I believe it is this one right here. This also has synergy with staff. So it's not crazy, guys. It's not crazy. I think it's actually a decent class. Now, let me go ahead and show you why I think that. If we go ahead and look at this right here, I constantly do a good amount of damage. These are probably my best ones right here. I got about 200,000 damage in these matches. And let me just say, it was a ton of fun playing this class. I think this is probably the most fun I've had playing Throne and Liberty is by using this class right here, because I'm getting to use melee, I'm getting to use great amount of CC, and I'm doing a ton of damage. Now, this gameplay style is very, very glass cannonied, so please keep in mind that with this style of gameplay, you're going to do a ton of damage, but you're also going to die very quickly. Now, with that in mind, I will unfortunately say that since you are running in melee range to the great swords, I think a Talus staff is kind of a must-have for a staff spear, unfortunately. The reason why Talus staff is so good is because when you're stunned, it will break you out of it for free. So that gives you one get out of jail free card, which will break you out of the stun from a great sword. So when they stun you and they're about to guillotine blade you, you just back right up, stun them, and you can reset and you're safe. And then if they stun you again, you can quickly use your Purification Stone and get out of that second stun. So if you're fast with it, you can outplay great swords very easily. Well, not necessarily easily, but it's possible. Now, with that all said, let me go ahead and go over the skill specializations so we can go ahead and get you guys going on Staff Spear. Now, the skill specializations that I'm using is the Flaming build. I was testing out the Critical Burst build, but the Critical Burst build, I think, is only really going to be useful with a tank type of gameplay, because you want to constantly keep up that burst, and it really has a really low duration. So you got to constantly be using it, and it's just way too hard to keep up. You're not going to really be able to use your mage skills if you're using this, so definitely Flaming Arc is the way to go. Now, originally, I also was not using the Flaming Arc at all, and instead I was using what I ranked up to level 5, my Chain Lightning instead. But Chain Lightning just does less damage than Flaming Arc, so I actually prefer Flaming Arc. Now, that does mean that I have to be in melee a little bit more, but it's perfectly fine. Javelin Inferno right here just does a ton of AoE damage, probably, if not the greatest amount of AoE damage in the game if left unchecked. Explosive Fury right here is the Vicious Fury upgraded with the fire skill right here. This is what allows you to use Javelin Inferno. So you have to have both of these skills. Otherwise, you can't use Javelin Inferno. Sentinel's Bastion. Now, I actually have it skill spec'd onto the Sentinel's Bastion right here rather than Unyielding Sentinel, because I'm going to be doing a good amount of damage at range. And this right here, let me show you just so you guys can see. If I use Sentinel's Bastion, it shows you the range right here for all the teammates inside of your aura. It's actually very large. So ideally, when you're playing, you're going to be wanting to stick with your team anyway, so this will give you a ton of heavy attack chance. And in that off chance that you're not close to your teammates, if you use it, as you see right here, 185, it actually counts just you. So you are included in the party member count. Therefore, you automatically get a 185 at all times, no matter how far from your opponent you are, which makes it so that way when you use this, your Focus Fire Bombs, your Judgment Lightning, and your Spear Bombardment are all boosted by that Bastion right here. So it's very, very nice. I definitely recommend using this if you're going to be more ranged. If you're going to be more melee, definitely Sentinel. But if you're going to be using Mage, definitely Sentinel's Bastion. Now, for Gale Rush, we have the effect duration. The reason why we have that is because if we dash in right here, first let's show you how fast this takes. That charge up takes quite a bit of time. But if we use Gale Rush first, then it will give us that attack speed boost, and then this will charge up a ton faster. So let's go ahead and showcase that. We'll dash in right here, and then look at that. It charges up quite a bit faster, which will allow us to keep on DPSing a bit more, and that little extra time will help quite a bit with helping with that. So that's the reason why I used that. If I had some extra points, maybe I would use something else in here as well. Additional Blitz sounds nice, but the problem is you can't use it on the same target. So when you use additional Blitz on here, you would actually have to go like this. You would have to hit one target, tab, and then hit a second target. And that's just kind of annoying for my playstyle, really. I don't like having to change targets. If I'm hitting somebody, generally I want to stick on that guy that I'm hitting, so I don't really like additional Blitz. Abyssal Cleave, you definitely want critical cleave on here to get extra damage on your Phoenix Barrage. And Phoenix Barrage is Cyclonic Fury, just skill spec. So we're going to be using critical cleave, and then Phoenix Barrage we have, because this one just does a ton of damage. The reason why I don't have critical aftermath on is because our crit chance, let me go ahead and show you, is actually not that high. It's 770. A good amount of tanks you're not going to be getting that damage boost on. So I like to just have conditional damage because I'm almost never going to be using Phoenix Barrage unless they are stunned. So I will always be hitting them with Abyssal Cleave like this. While they're stunned, I'm going to immediately use that for maximum damage. So that just is way more consistent than critical aftermath in my opinion. Now let's go ahead and go over the staff skill specs. I always like to have Burning Echo for extra AoE damage on focus fire bombs, even if I'm not in a GVG situation. There's a ton of times that the enemies are close together, so I like these three at all times. Projectile speed increased is very nice, but there's nothing else that I would want to get rid of, unfortunately, to add that. So these are the three that I use for focus fire bombs. We have Icicle Spear Bombardment. I like to have all of these on because you want to give them that bind, and then Icicle Spear Bombardment is normal Icicle Spear. We have Victorious Energy right here for the extra hit chance, magic and ranged evasion, as well as extra damage. And then for Icebound Tomb, we have Bind and Icy Mire. Now, this one is kind of up to you on how you want to play it. I really enjoy using Icebound Tomb because, again, if we look back over here, on this right here, it works, the conditional damage works on bind collision as well. So if we look right here for Icy Mire, it not only binds, because we have the bind right here, but this one right here, if we read it down below, it says melee ranged and magic evasion is decreased for the target who's bound. So if you're fighting somebody who has a ton of evasion, this is just another way to help you hit those guys. So there's a good amount of times, especially in arena, that there's like a staff or a wand player that has a ton of melee evasion because all they play is arena. If we go over here and we miss our stun and we see that it misses our stun, then we have a second chance with Icebound Tomb. We'll throw that up. Now their melee evasion is lowered, so then we'll be able to guarantee hit them for a ton of damage with that. As well as we have Vicious Energy to increase our hit as well. So that'll give us a ton of hit overall. As you see, when we pop Vicious Energy, our melee hit chance goes up to 1,513. And that is pretty much all of the skill specializations. So let's go ahead and go over just a quick little combo to show you guys how we play this. Now, I've already used Vicious Energy, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to show you that in this combo. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to pop both of our buff skills. So we'll pop Vicious Energy, and then we'll pop Sentinel's Bastion, and then we'll start with our mage skills, right? So pop Vicious Energy, just pretend it's on, and then Sentinel's Bastion, as you see right here. This gives us 8 seconds of doing insane amount of damage, as well as it gives us a barrier. While these are buffed on, we immediately move into our mage skills. So we'll go ahead and throw our Focus Fire bombs on the target. Once that gets sent out, we'll then use Judgment Lightning. If we get lucky, that procs, and then we'll use Judgment Lightning a second time. We didn't get lucky that time. That's perfectly fine. After that, we will throw in our Icicle Spear Bombardment. As you see, that will then snare them for 3 seconds. Once they're snared, we will then dash in, because all of our mage skills are on cooldown. So we will dash in on them. And then immediately after dashing in, remember they're still bound, so we'll be able to hit them with Abyssal Cleave. We'll hit them with Abyssal Cleave right here. After that, we will immediately hit them with the Phoenix Barrage. After Phoenix Barrage, we will then hit them with Icebound Tomb to not allow them to chase after us or move. So we hit them with that. And then we will hit them with Flaming Arc. We'll press that once, and we'll press that twice. While we're pressing that, we're going to be starting to back up. Once we get to about right here, you'll see once it goes away. So try to get used to that range right here. Once we back up far enough, we'll hit them with Explosive Fury 5 times. And then at this point, our Fireball skill should be off of cooldown, so we can actually start backing up way out of range over here and hit them with another Fireball. After that Fireball, then you're going to start hitting them with Javelin Infernos. And then after all that is done, you're going to have your skills on cooldown, so you're going to honestly want to just back up and play a little defensively and wait for your cooldowns to come back up. And that is pretty much the way that you play. So you're going to do tons of burst damage. After your burst damage is done, make sure you back it up, play a little bit defensively, and wait for your cooldowns. That's a big, big thing to do, because if you're in there in the fray all the time, trying to hit them with your melee skills, this has a low cooldown, but look, after that, what are you going to do? Just hit them for 500 damage? So make sure if your cooldowns are still on cooldown, back it up, and save your second Icebound Tomb, because your Vicious Energy will be on cooldown. You want to save your second Icebound Tomb as another way to combo if you miss your stun. So if you dash in right here, and then for whatever reason, like you messed up and then you missed your stun like this, but your ult right here, I call it my ult because it does a ton of damage, but your Phoenix Barrage is on cooldown, you could still stun them with Icebound Tomb, dash in or run up, and then hit them with this. This just gives you a second way of hitting them with the full combo of Phoenix Barrage for a ton of damage. Now, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today on this. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see some arena gameplay. I have a few fights that I've recorded. I recorded that one where I actually did about 200,000 damage, so let me know down below if you would like me to commentate over that and explain how you guys can play a little more thoroughly into that. Hopefully you guys understand with this. And yeah, that's pretty much all. I recommend Staff Spear for players who, first of all, have the Tala Staff, and second of all, enjoy playing like a ranged hybrid type of playstyle where you're playing some melee and playing some ranged. I think it's a ton of fun. It's very similar to a Staff Dagger type of gameplay, so for those of you who play Staff Dagger, definitely give Staff Spear a try. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today, and thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.